Consider the piecewise function f of x defined below. Which of the following is the graph of f of x? Okay, so we could make an XY chart, but all four of these graphs look similar. Um, we can eliminate some answer choices by deciding, it looks like the only thing that's different in all these graphs is whether these dots are open or closed. So I've closed, closed, open, 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 closed, 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 open, and open, open, closed. Okay, so that's one difference. So let's look at this x value looks like -2. And when x is -2, the value of the graph is supposed to be -9. Okay, so -9 is the point down here. So it should be filled in because if x is -2, the y value is supposed to be -9. Okay, so I can eliminate this one and this one because this dot should be filled in. Okay, so let's look at B and D. What are the differences? So this point right here, this open dot, looks like it's right on the x-axis, whereas this open dot looks like it's a little bit below the x-axis. So if I were trying to graph this piece of the function, this little line here, okay, the way I would figure out where that open dot is I would plug this -2 into this graph, into this formula. Okay, so -2 plus 1 is -1. So that means that the open circle should be just below the x-axis at -1. So D rather than B. Let's go ahead and make the XY chart. I think that this will be a little clearer. X, Y, and I'm just going to put in integers. So -7 is the smallest x. So I'm going to do -7. I could do all the integers up to -2, but that seems a little more than necessary. Let's do like -4, -2. I'm going to do -2 twice because I'm going to do once where I plug it in here and get an open circle. And then I'm going to do it 3 times. And then x is bigger than -2, so maybe like 0 and 1. Okay, so I'm going to plug all these x values into my function. So -7 and -4 go in here because they are between -7 and -2. So -7 plus 1 is -6, -4 plus 1 is -3, and -2 plus 1 is -1, but this is an open dot. This is closed. This is closed. Okay. Now, when x is -2, I get -9. So I have a -9 here with with a closed dot. And then I'm going to plug my -2 into the last formula. So this says the opposite of x plus 2. So if I put a -2 in here, I get the opposite of -2, which is 2. So I get a 4 if I plug -2 into that last formula. And that's an open circle because this is for x is bigger than -2, but not -2 itself. Okay, so I put an open dot there. And then if I plug a 0 in here, I get 2. And if I plug a 1 in there, I get 1. And now I want to find a graph that has all of these points on it. So -7, -6 is right here. It should be a closed dot. That eliminates this option and this option because it's those have open dots there. Okay, then I should have another open dot at -2, -1. So this looks like -2, 0. This one looks like -2, -1. So that eliminates this option, and I know it's this. But let's just keep going. So I should have a closed dot at -2, -9. So this one does, and this one does. And then I should have an open dot at -2, 4. So this looks like -2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks right. Um, -2, 1, 2, 3, 4. That looks right too. So the only difference is that this point is a little bit lower than this point. So this is this is the correct graph.